Welcome ladies and gents who are actually taking the time to watch and listen to this home realtor. Today, I will be telling you more about the Taiga biome and that you should buy a home in this area. A couple of beginning things that you should know about this biome is that there is very little rainfall. The average rainfall in this biome is to be 35 to 75 centimeters. Resulting in this, the temperatures in the summer usually averages to 57 degrees Fahrenheit and 14 degrees Fahrenheit in the winters. Because the taiga biome is mainly cold and the soil water is frozen from 6 to 7 months, after it is defrosted, the soil turns out to be soft and fertile afterwards. In the process of being frosted, this frozen soil below the ice is called the permafrost layer. And although there are only a couple of hours of sunlight in the winter, in the summer it ranges to 20 hours a day. Okay, so you might want to take some of these biotic factors into consideration first. Living in the taiga biome, we have some lynx who are carnivores that have skin that camouflages into the biome's adaptation. Next, we have the moose, which are herbivores that eat grass, and moose also means twig eater in the native language. Next, we have a couple of wolves that are carnivores. These animals' skins can also camouflage, so it can easily catch its prey, so watch out. One type of bird that we have in this biome is the crossbill. Crossbills are herbivores that have crossed beaks to help them open cones and pines in this biome. Our last animal that I'll introduce to you is a pine marten. Pine martens are omnivores that feed upon small mice or rodents and only a bit of plants. These animals have a very long tail and sharp claws to help them balance on the type of trees in this biome. Switching on to plants, we have evergreen trees that stay green all year long, which are very good for winter fires and Christmas season. Next, we have conifers that are usually found in coniferous trees and have pines. Lastly, the last biotic factor in this biome would be lichen and moss with short roots that grow on big trees for protection. Subsequently, we have a food chain for the taiga biome. The food chain shows the relationship between each organism and how the levels flow within the biome. By analyzing the previous food chain, you can identify mutualism through the moss and barks of the evergreen trees. They serve for mutualism because the moss hangs on the barks for protection, meanwhile the trees get nutrients from the moss, showing that they both benefit. As for commensalism in this biome, we have eagles that make their nests on some of the trees. The trees provide the nest for the eagles, which benefits them, but neither harms or benefits the tree in particular. A common type of parasitism are when fleas and ticks consume upon the moose or elk's blood and benefit from it, meanwhile the moose or elk are being harmed. Lastly, for competition in the taiga, there might be a rival between wolves and bears competing for things such as food, like small weasels, foxes, rabbits, or even maybe a home or habitat. This would be an example of interspecific competition because it's competition between two different species of organisms, two different species. So you might be thinking now, well, isn't this biome like any other terrestrial biome on our planet? Well, no, not really. Based upon facts, the tundra, the coldest terrestrial biome on our planet, contains animals that camouflage for each season, has a permafrost layer, bacteria that lives in a permafrost layer, and an average rainfall from 30 to 50 centimeters. At this rate, who really wants to live in a freezing weather? Deserts, on the other hand, can be super cold or super hot. A couple of facts that you should know about them, or the desert, are the plants can survive with very limited amount of water. They have to adapt to it. It can also be excessively hot or cold, which I've already said. The animals' drinks are used the nutrients from the water of the plants, as in like the cactus or the nectar of the lilies. And also, dust storms occur when strong winds blow loose sand from the dry ground. Lastly, we have the rainforest, which has been in danger because of deforestation. Also, 25% of our medicines come from the rainforest plants. As for the layers, the rainforest has 4 layers: the emergent layer, the canopy, the understory, and the forest floor. Though some of these other biomes might leave you with a big ooh or ah, but who would want to live in the other biomes when it's either too hot, too cold, has too many poisonous animals, while you can be living in a pretty timid biome where the winters aren't extremely cold and extremely hot in the summers. Summarizing my persuasion to you, I'll tell you more about the carbon and water cycle in the taiga biome. So first thing, we have the carbon cycle. The first thing that actually happens in this cycle is when carbon dioxide in the air is absorbed by plants, such as the evergreens. Then, by the process of photosynthesis, it is to be combined with water to make carbohydrates and other molecules. Next, the animals or primary consumers devour the plant, which is in the process of cellular respiration. The energy is now broken down for them. Finally, carbon dioxide and water are produced in the reaction, which then the animals exhales the carbon dioxide and releases it back into the air, and then the cycle starts all over again. The second and last cycle is the water cycle. In the water cycle, as the water rains down into the roots of the plants and trees, it then gets evaporated by the sun's energy or rays, bringing it back into the clouds, condensing it. As the pressure increases and enough water is collected, the water then rains back down to the Earth's surface, and the water cycle will start all over again. The water cycle is very important to the taiga biome because of the forest's cold state. The water cycle helps support the ecosystem and produce a good community for the organisms to live there. All in all, it's a pleasure to see that you've actually taken the time to listen and watch to this video. With our wishes to you, please buy a home in the taiga biome, and we'll really appreciate it. Thanks again.
You and me, the tropical breeze, a drink under a palm tree. Let's forget about the rest today. I'm having fun with my